What's up guys, Jimmy Miracle here. I'm going to talk to you about how you can improve on your portrait drawing, portrait painting. I'm doing this Asaro head study here. I just did this in pencil, a couple hours on some white paper. I didn't even scrub in the background. I'm trying to study the planes of the head. So I'm working in my studio here, which is Northlight Studio. Let me just show you my setup. I'm using natural light. I don't really like using unnatural light, and I've got a tall window here that I blocked off with a curtain. And here's my other window, blocked it off with the curtain. Here's my setup. There's the Asaro head, and then I've got a cylinder right here for reference. There's my sketch. I've got some other anatomical models down here. This is another plane head. This is the Houdon head with a lot of anatomical landmarks. I've got a skull down here. So these are kind of some of the things you need to start thinking about in order to progress in your portrait painting, portrait drawing. So basically the cylinder here is a guide to the light logic on this plane head, but much simpler. We're thinking in terms of shadow family, light family, and halftone turns. Let me show you a couple construction drawings down here, also to get you going. This is a kind of 3/4 sketch of a simplified head with primary planes. So you're kind of trying to think of the front and side planes here on the portrait. I got some simpler ones here. Let me put the camera back in this little holder. So basically, you need to start memorizing the structure of the head in its basic form. This is from Andrew Loomis. I'm kind of studying his Loomis head construction, which is ball and jaw plane dropped off of it, with no tone, no light and shadow, just the construction, which is analytical structural drawing, trying to draw through the form to see basic primary forms. I'm thinking of that underneath this complex Asaro head, center line and perspective of points and symmetries that are following each other across the skull, across the planes of the head. I've got some indicated here. So we've got where those little red dots are, trying to find those symmetries on either side of the center line, imagined center line of the head. And there are symmetries going through the head as if the head had skewers in it. These are how sculptors are thinking. Let me show you a couple more quick sketches. So here's the Loomis construction on some different heads, trying to find front plane and light, side plane and shadow, and using some principles of atmospheric perspective. On here, I'm emphasizing some of the nearer planes a touch. Not super obvious, but I'm pulling the important anatomical bones out. Zygomatic bone, frontal process. When you're doing a portrait drawing from life, here's a quick portrait drawing sketch I did on newsprint. It's kind of wrinkly. The light's sort of raking off of it a little bit, but let me put it in shadow. So see, I'm trying to emphasize this near zygomatic plane. I'm using principles of atmospheric perspective, light logic. There's hosts of artists out there who are explaining this very well these days. Dorian Eaton, Ilya Mirachnik, who went to St. Petersburg Academy of Art, New Masters Academy online. I would recommend studying their work. Steve Houston. I mean, there's tons of people explaining this stuff to try to think 3D, think about anatomical structures, and then be able to represent it on a 2D plane. The teachers that I studied with in New York at the Art Students League, everyone's saying the same thing. You just have to work it out, figure it out for yourself. But I would suggest getting some planar heads, like either this one down here below, I got this one from a friend in California when I was living out there. I think it was made by a sculptor. It's got really good. At first, I saw these and I was like, I don't want to draw robot people, but trust me, the perspective, knowledge that you will gain from the structure in this study will help you in your drawing. And in case you just think, oh, I just want to be a painter, I don't want to learn sculpture. I used to think like that, but here's a sculpture I'm working on. Basically, we're trying to know the form. This is a quick study that I've done on my son. He's 5 years old. I just kind of set him up in front of the TV, but we're trying to learn where these bony landmarks are, even on a child, so I could probably sharpen some of these frontal bone, frontal process, where the form's turning on the left, you find it on the right, symmetry of center lines, and then ear tragal notch in relationship to the front of the bone. So Edward Lanteri, look him up as well. Anyways, I'll leave you there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. I hope this helps you on your path to find some new resources and improve your drawing, improve your portrait painting, portrait sculpture, your understanding of the human form, and have a good day.